Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Dune and Friends. And today we have a fantastic friend joining us. Now, hopefully you can still hear me in the green room there, my friend. Wonderful. Right. Good afternoon. Wonderful. The sound is working great. So I'd like to just introduce you to our guest here. But again, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Dune and Friends. And hopefully you're having a wonderful afternoon where you are. And today we have Connor Morand joining us all the way from I think the Ontario area, and so Eastern Canada. And he's a wonderful musician and speaker and community really involved in the community as well. And so let me just do a quick introduction of Connor here before we have him join us for an hour and a bit. So in many ways, Connor Morand has broken his own barriers throughout his musical journey. Originally born in London, Ontario, Morand developed an appreciation for musical genre very quickly, all of the genre. And beginning as a folk artist, he searched to find his own artistic identity while still maintaining his love for diversity. Enter Morand's 2017 release of Everything is Gold / Belief, a double single project that showcases the ability to transcend into the alternative pop realm. The release was promoted with a stunning around the world music video for the lead singer, Everything is Gold, which spans 60 locations and 4 continents over 6 months of filming. This caught the attention of multiple TV and radio networks across Canada, including MuchMusic, CBC, CTV, and Global News. Now, while many suggest that Morand continues to ride on the success of that release, he is more interested in the continual craft and development, the mark of a true artist. His newest single, 94 Corolla, is a hip-hop infused pop track that explores the idea of life's biggest moments happening in familiar, average spaces, specifically two lovers entrenched in a moment of potential heartbreak in a 1994 Toyota Corolla. The song was co-written and co-produced with fellow Canadian artist Unbloom, who Morand has also worked with to co-write and perform as a guest vocalist on Unbloom's 2019 release, Best Believe, hook-driven electro-pop banger that has been described as impressive by Atwood and outstanding. The future wave, and thoughtfully crafted, the music mermaid. Now, Morand has a lot to be thankful for and continues to create thought-provoking, powerful records that are a breath of fresh air in the vast musical landscape. So with that brief introduction, friends, please help me in welcoming our guest today, all the way from the Ontario region of Canada. Welcome. How are you doing, my friend?
Hello, Dune. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. It's an absolute honor to be speaking with you.
Yeah, wonderful. So how's the weather out there in Eastern Canada today, my friend?
Well, the weather out there in Eastern Canada, I guess it's maybe more Central Canada, being in London, Ontario, but it's good so far. It's a little bit of an overcast day, but still sunny skies, no rain.
Mm-hmm.
A lot to be thankful for here. How's the weather out there where you are?
Nice and sunny as well, which a little windy, but very cool. So we have about an hour and a bit, my friend, and I'd love to hear, maybe fill us in on a little bit. I know you have some exciting stuff, both personally as well as musically and speaking wise, but maybe just round out the background before we get into some sharing of specific videos and things like that. Tell us more. How did you get here, my friend?
Well, I think I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I got here. It's been a long and strange journey, and certainly for any musician or for any artist for that matter, the road is never straight. You usually take a bunch of turns, and there's bumps and twists all along the way until you somehow end up in the place where you are. And certainly for me, creating music, it hasn't been an easy road, and a lot of other musicians can say the same thing. But I've just recently come to light in terms of trying to hone in my sound and who I am as a musician. And if you look at any artist in the vast musical landscape, they're all trying to create something brand new that they've never ever created before, and sometimes that means transcending multiple genres, which is certainly something that I've been doing a lot more of in the past year to 2 years. And really just being a lot more introspective with myself and making sure that when I do write a song, that I'm trying to write it from a good place and that I'm writing it from my heart, and that first and foremost, that song is for me. I could spend, all of the time in the world trying to write songs to try and please other people. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy with your own songs, then very few people are going to be as well. So that's where I'm looking at life musically, and just still trying to create, still trying to become a better singer, a better songwriter. And, I guess a better person is what that all leads down to. Being a better collaborator, being a better artist to work with from a management perspective, and from a venue, from a label's perspective. I think it really pays to be a positive person and to be, open and to be honest with yourself and with all of the other people around you. So that's where life has taken me. And if I were to rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say that most days I'm sitting at about an 8 to an 8.5, which really isn't doing too bad, I guess, especially during these times. So
there you go. Now, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And
No
we're going to get into more various aspects of your life, any aspects that you want to share. Now, could you do me a favor? If you click on the gear again, there's a setting for video resolution. If you can crank it up to 1080, let's be ambitious. Let's be ambitious and
Sure.
broadcast in full HD there, my friend. That'd be cool.
Awesome.
Tell us, these days with COVID, how do you occupy your time these days? Has it changed a lot in terms of your routines? And tell us a bit about that before we get on.
Yeah. I think it's changed a lot in terms of my routine. It's actually changed. So, I mean, specifically from a music perspective, I think that the one thing that COVID has really changed is that it's forced me to start acquiring new skills. So, like a little bit of background about myself in terms of musical landscapes. I've been writing songs with just myself and oh my gosh, and an acoustic guitar for about 10 years. So, through this whole COVID time and through this madness, I've been trying to just learn other skills. And that's when I just recently picked up a program called Logic Pro X, which for all of you Apple users, if you're big into the music making landscape, then you'll know this program quite well. All Macs have a free version of that, which is called GarageBand. So basically, Logic is kind of the step up from that. So all of that being said, specifics aside, it's been fun to essentially try and learn a new instrument. Because I mean, the computer is just as much of an instrument as say like a piano is, or your voice, or just a guitar. So just trying to learn that new instrument and just trying to figure it all out, and seeing what kind of pieces there are. And there's a lot of moving parts, especially with a DAW, which stands for a digital audio workstation. So just trying to figure all that out. In terms of process, in terms of workflow, obviously I am very much a people person. I love being around people so much. So this has been a really challenging time for me, and just looking deep into myself and realizing what kind of a work ethic I have when I'm all alone. I really thrive off of other people, and I think that that's a wonderful skill to have. But at the same time, I am quite envious of people who are able to work for long periods of time just by themselves. So that's definitely a skill that I'm trying to hone in through myself, and it's slowly getting better every single day, thankfully. And it'll never ever be perfect, but I'm certainly on a decent track. At least I think so.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, again, to our viewers out there, feel free to chime in with your comments and encouragement and questions for Connor, and make it interactive. We will display your comments right on screen here, so everybody can see it, and they'll be in the video. And so that what you said was very insightful, but not too surprising. Many of us have different sort of preferences. I'm one of those as well. I feed off people's energy. So when I'm working with people, it just elevates my game. And so that's great. So I'm curious from a musical kind of journey perspective. I know you play the guitar and you
Mhm.
sing. Have you gotten into piano and other musical instruments as well, my friend, or is it just mostly the guitar is your focus?
Sure. So the piano has been an instrument that I've been on and off of ever since I was a kid. It was never something I took overly seriously.
Hmm.
I started playing the piano from a young age, probably 6 or 7 years old,
Hmm.
and I can very vividly remember taking piano lessons as a child. In fact, I remember my very last piano lesson. I walked up to the front door of my piano teacher's house with my mother, and then I handed her a $20 bill and I said, "See you later." And that was it for my piano career for quite some time. When I was 11, that's when I got my first electric.
Mm,
Played that thing like there was no tomorrow. Really, really fell in love with the guitar.
nice.
Um, and then slowly later on, more so as I got into songwriting, I would only say probably within my last few years of high school, so grade 11, grade 12, is when
Hmm.
I really developed a deeper knowledge and a deeper appreciation for playing the piano.
Mm,
And it is certainly the mother of all the noted instruments. If you can learn how to play the piano, then you're very well set, especially from a theoretical perspective as well.
yeah.
So I slowly started diving into playing piano. My father was a wonderful piano player, and
Mm,
maybe there was something there as well. Although I don't think that having musical talent is necessarily genetic. Um,
mhm.
I think it requires a lot of practice and a lot of willpower to be able to be skilled at playing an instrument, at singing, at whatever else have you. So
Mhm.
that's in terms of the piano. Couple other instruments along the way. I mean, I dabbled in drums for a little bit, and I
Mhm.
still play drums. Would I consider myself to be a drummer? Probably not.
Mhm.
There are far, far more people in my circle that are much more talented than I am. You also play a little bit of ukulele. I would think the next instrument that I would love to take a crack at learning would be the saxophone or some kind of a brass instrument. Haven't even
Nice.
touched that at all, and I think it would
Mhm.
just be fun to have another piece, just kind of incorporated to my musicianship. So,
Yeah.
how about yourself, though? Because I know that you're a pretty talented guy as well, and you've been doing
Mhm.
this a long, long time, 30 plus years, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
So, I'd
yeah.
love to hear a little bit about your musical background as well. And
Yeah, for me, I started music at grade age 7 when I was given, I think it was a harmonica, and started on
awesome.
that, and then got quickly onto guitar and little keyboard. You know those keyboards that you have to blow into it and you play that thing. There's a name for it,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So I got that, and but played guitar for several decades. But there was about 11 years when I was too busy with business and all the family and everything else. I cut out music for about 11 years. So in the last decade and a bit, I've been I swung the other way and really spent a lot of music playing in multiple bands and do a lot of different things. And yeah, so guitar is my go-to instrument by far. But I do some keyboards and sort of do some singing and some songwriting as well. Just kind of budding up with that. But guitar is what I can definitely and do get paid to play.
Yeah, that's right. I think the name of that thing that you're referring to, the instrument, is called a melodica.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
What I like to do is pull up your website here and just
Sure.
have you kind of walk us through your sort of your web presence out there as it relates to your music and maybe throw in
Sure.
stories along the way. So using the website as a bit of a backdrop to get to know you a little bit further, my friend. So here we are. We're
No
going to
problem.
go ahead and share the website here. Tell us if you can see this here coming in. And I'll take my video out and so there you are
Yeah.
on the website, and tell us a bit. What would viewers find on your website that's out there?
Well, it's a pretty simple and user-friendly website, at least in my opinion.
Hmm.
I spent a little bit of time, just sort of combing through it and really just getting down to the nitty-gritty and not really giving a whole lot of information. I looked at a ton of other musician sites and really just found the bits and pieces that I liked about theirs, and then slowly made those into my own. So I was the one that actually designed this site. And I mean,
Hmm.
I've always told people, and I heard this advice a long, long time ago, but a website is just like a baby. You have to keep on constantly changing it. So by no means is this a finalized version, but it's certainly a pretty
Hmm.
good one at that. So, just right there at the top, you've got my name and face, and then
Hmm.
link to my newest single, and then just scrolling down a couple other pieces of video content. Uh,
Hmm.
and then there's a short bio and then some tour dates. Obviously, no tour dates now because of COVID-19. And then just some social links there at the top. And then I think also at the bottom, oh, there is one right there. That show's been canceled. I'll have to update that one. I didn't even realize that was still there. So yeah, it's a very, very simple site. And the goal with my website is I wanted people to get to my music as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And this seems to be a pretty decent way to, to get people there as well. So yeah.
Now this might be a great time to hit play on one of your videos.
Sure.
The Everything is Gold. Is this the version that I should click on, my friend?
Yes, sure. You can click on that, and then I think you can enlarge it right from the website there.
You bet. Let's take a listen. And did you want to do any more background or story behind that before I hit play? Either way is fine. I'm just curious.
I think I'm actually going to explain some stuff after the video is done because it might give a little bit more context. You usually like to let the video speak for itself first. So go ahead.
Bet. Let me know if you can hear it.
Yeah, I've got it on my end.
You and I, we come from different lights, when everything wasn't always alright, but we put them all together over one night. In the moment I know I seemed to be strong. You called me at a time when I was all alone. I was looking for anybody to lean on. I can feel your aura, filling up the space, energy build up all around. Oh, but not with you. Did you feel the love when it surrounded you? When it rushes in, you keep still, don't know what to do. Oh, mercy. Everything is gold. Oh, everything is gold. Sudden energy evident in plain view. I can feel it illuminating the whole room. It's been a long while, no, it's overdue. And for the first time I feel chemistry, and I'm longing to know if you would agree, 'cause being with you is better than being with nobody. I can feel your aura, filling up the space, energy build up all around this place. Everything is gold, but not with you. Did you feel the love when it surrounded you? When it rushes in, you keep still, don't know what to do. Oh, mercy. Everything is gold. Oh, gold. Oh, gold. Oh, gold. Everything is gold, but not with you. Did you feel the love when it surrounded you? When it rushes in, you keep still and you don't know what to do. Oh, mercy, oh, mercy, oh, mercy. Everything is.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. That video, like, it still makes me smile. It really does, and it's been over 3 years since I actually released that video. It was March of 2017 when I let it go into the world. But even still after 3 years, I find that as a musician, and especially as a songwriter, you tend to get sick of your own stuff fairly quickly, especially after it comes out. And then, you've got kind of the honeymoon phase for about a month or 2 months where you think that your music is still really, really good. And then it just slowly fades a little bit over time. And, but there's just something about that music video that just makes me so proud. And I was so happy about that experience. And just to meet all of the wonderful people that were involved on that whole 6-month journey. So
yeah, I think that's what makes it special. The fact that it involved and reached so many more people, and participation, community. It's not just a song that you write and perform and record it, but it's a bit of community engagement. In fact, a global community, right? 60 countries, you said?
So there were 60 locations altogether in terms of the number of countries. I think there were 19 to 20 altogether, all depending.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
yeah. I see you were in Vietnam there, one of the...
I was going to point that out. There's actually quite a bit of Vietnamese locations, which was really great. Hey, George, I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Vietnam was such a wonderful place, and it's such a diverse landscape, all the way in the south, just with the Ho Chi Minh, and you see all the traffic, and then you head a little bit more north, and then you see the Vietnamese, just all the countryside and everything. And it's just, it's such a wonderful place. And I'm sure that you have, many, many fond memories, of Vietnam, but,
born and raised in what was called Saigon back then.
Okay. And, Hanoi, right?
Yeah, Saigon would be the south side, so Ho Chi Minh City.
Right,
yeah.
right,
yeah.
yes, right.
So, quick thing. So, if you go to the public tab, you'll be able to see the comments as they stream in before I even bring them on screen there, my friend. So yeah, that's a great video, and that took a few months to kind of complete. 6 months, is that correct?
Yes, it did. It took 6 months to actually film everything, and the really crazy part about filming that video was that 90% of that whole video was not filmed to any kind of a backing or any kind of a click track, because I would have to give people my phone, and then I didn't have a secondary, I didn't have a secondary kind of device to essentially play the song through as a playback while I was essentially trying to lip sync the song. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the parts in that were just purely by memory and just trying to say, okay, the BPM of the song is about this. So I'm just going to roll with that. And then I basically had all of that footage. And then I got back to Canada, and I just thought, well, I'm taking a big gamble, and I'm going to try to piece this together. Hopefully it goes well. And thankfully it did. There were some clips that I had to speed up and other ones I had to slow down. But in general, for not having any kind of a playback, it was quite on time, and I was quite happy with, just how it turned out. And I did all the editing myself as well. It wasn't actually too hard to edit. It was really just making sure that, again, all of the timing was synced up. There's actually one specific shot, and I don't know if you want to pull up the video again to show people, but it's right in the middle. There's a shot that goes from Rome, inside of Italy, into Petra. And there's this nice big swipe, and I basically had to time that just right to really, really make sure that it lined up correctly. And I remember being in Petra, and I was just like, okay, if my hand is here, when the last clip ended, then it has to be here when it starts. And then just somehow I thought, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work. It's going to look terrible. But then when I got back to Canada, it seemed to work out pretty well. Or sorry, no, it wasn't Rome. It was, oh my gosh, what was the last clip there?
Do you remember roughly where it was in the video?
Yeah. Keep scrubbing to the right. Sahara, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Dead Sea. Yes. Sorry, right there. It was the Wadi Rum. So it was the Wadi Rum in Jordan. You'll see this big swipe. So go back a little bit.
Okay.
The clip right before it, the Wadi Rum clip. And then, right there, you'll see this nice big swipe.
Did I miss it?
You just got the tail end of it. Go back to about 2. Yeah, right here. Yeah, you're good. You can stop it there.
cool. Yeah, I saw that swipe.
Yeah. So that was just a complete guess. Again, I had to kind of time my hand. If it starts here, then it has to stop here as well. So
Yeah. Let's see it again. So tell us when it comes on here.
Yeah, right here.
I love it.
Yeah, you got it there.
Love
So
it.
yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And then I had two favorite moments of this music video specifically. The first one is in the Sahara Desert. So if you scroll back to the left, probably go to about the 2-minute mark, you might find it there.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going to the left a little bit. Yeah. And then you can just leave that as a screen cap, so you'll see it in a quick second. You can just pause the video as soon as it comes up. Right here. So this shot is my absolute favorite shot of the whole video. We shot this it was 4 a.m. And the reason why it was so early is because that's what time the sun rises. And our guide that took us on this trip, he wanted to be able to show us the sunrise. And then we rode in on these camels that are behind you, and then they let the camels go all in this straight line. And I just happened to catch it out of the corner of my eye, and I was with my friend Joe, who shot about 50% of this. And I basically just said to him, I said, hey, like, I really want to get this shot. This is beautiful. So I very quickly handed him my phone, and then he kind of framed it up for me. And then that's how we got the big, long line of nice. The camels in the back, and then the sunrise. So that was a great shot. The other shot that I really, really love actually happened in Vietnam. I'm on the back of a motorcycle, and we're driving through Vung Tau. So it's actually near the end of the video, Dune, if you want to go to probably about the 2.5-minute mark, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, try the 3-minute mark-ish. It should be right around there. Yeah, it's right after this whole... Yeah, right. Yeah, it's coming up right here. You'll pause the video. Pause right here. Yeah. So the backstory for this shot is that I'm on the back of a motorcycle. I've got a guy that I met while I was in Ho Chi Minh City, formerly Saigon, as we now know. So he was the one driving, and then I had my phone, and I had it all the way out here. I had to really stretch my hand to get myself all the way in the frame. And that shot maybe lasts for about a half second, but to basically give you some context, I'm going on the back of a 60 click-an-hour motorcycle, and I don't really have anything that's like fully secure to my hand. So I have to trust myself to be able to hold my phone and to film this, while going on the back of this speedy motorcycle, and just hoping that I don't drop my phone and lose all of that, previous footage from the last 5 months. So thankfully that turned out pretty well. And, it was really, really fun to go back in the editing room and to be able to piece that all together and find a place for that. So, I had a lot of fun. So those are my two favorite shots from that video.
So it was a physical adventure, it was a cultural adventure, and it was a technical adventure that you went on when you came home, and you were glad that everything was still in one piece, and
that's
everything
right.
worked out the way it did, because there's a lot of 19 countries and 60 different cities or locations, and doing all kind of things that you don't normally do, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think the biggest lesson that I learned is make sure that you always back up your files, which is something that I failed to do. I could have lost everything in a moment's notice. I actually broke the screen of my phone, and not that that's a huge deal. It doesn't really affect the memory side of things, but if you have a broken screen, it makes it a little bit tough to record things. So that actually happened a couple scenes before this in a place called Dalat. So then I had to very quickly go get it fixed. And that was a whole side of things where I was just like, this whole thing could just be compromised, and then I could just have a bunch of clips, which certainly isn't the end of the world, but I would have loved to, be able to piece it all together in one go, which it ended up happening, and it was great. So again, very, very proud of that video, and I'm proud of more so the people that were involved in it. That was really the most special part for me.
That was fun. For our Vietnamese friends, Dalat is a very, well-loved place. It's in the central part of the country, sort of middle there. And they're it's a very nice tourist location as well.
Yeah.
But, thank you for sharing that, my friend. And there you are. Love it.
Again, it's still a lot of fun to watch, even after all these years, because I know all of the backstories and everything for each shot that I had to go
Yeah.
through. And I could literally spend an hour just explaining, every single shot piece by piece.
In some ways you were kind of low tech and simple. In some ways you were high tech and simple, and I'll explain why. You had a very good camera that captured the scenery and the colors beautifully. The
Thank
fact
you.
that you didn't have a second device to be able to play a click track and whatever have you.
That's
That's
right.
the low tech and simple kind of simplicity side of it. You were banking it all on one good device there, my friend.
Yes. Which, maybe for next time probably isn't the smartest move, but it definitely worked for what I needed it for. And, very, very happy. So
it makes a good story. It makes a good stories when you're all big kind of setups, and later on in the future, as you evolve, you'll remember that the first time when you did it with just one camera. And,
that's right.
With a broken screen at that, right?
I think that's a really valuable lesson, and maybe you can actually relate to this a lot, is to basically work with what you have and don't try to worry about having all the high tech and all the fancy equipment. No, I mean, when I first started making music, I think the guitar that I had was only about $75 to $100, and I'm sure that a lot of other musicians and artists can very, very much resonate with that knowledge. So for me, just as my music has evolved, and I've certainly tried to make the most of what I have. And, I would very much imagine, Dune, that you're on the same wavelength as well, especially after doing this for 30 plus years. So.
Yeah. Now, as we evolve, we were willing and able to get into better equipment, and that's a good thing. But I'm very much secure in the knowledge that we can make it work with less technology for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us further, about the website here. That's one video. Now I would love to hear a bit about maybe the next video, which is the 94 Corolla. We mentioned it in the intro. Tell us about what that song means to you, how it came about, and give us a bit of a story behind that.
No problem. Yeah, that song means an awful lot to me. And really, I think that part of the reason why it was so special, Doom, was because that was the first song that I ended up leaving out into the world after about 2 years. So I had the Everything is Gold era, and that was in 2017. And then 94 was released in actually July 26th of 2019. So it just passed the 1 year anniversary mark. What does that song mean to me? So that song was written from a time where I got into a little bit of a disagreement with my girlfriend, who is now my fiance, and I'm very, very happy that we've gotten to that place through all of the trials and tribulations that we had. We had a very nasty breakup. Well, sorry, not nasty, but it was a very, very unfortunate breakup. But it only lasted for about 24 hours, which was kind of the funny thing. But I remember having all of these feelings.
It was a painful 24 hours.
Yeah, it was a really, really painful 24 hours. And certainly anybody that's been through a breakup knows that first day is definitely the hardest. And, the other person is the only person that you could ever think about in that time, right? So that was certainly the case for me. So I wrote this song long after we had broken up and then eventually got back together. But I was trying to channel those feelings into a time where you've got these grand moments in these fairly average spaces. So we actually broke up in the middle of a local park here in London called Springbank Park. But the reason why I used 94 Corolla is because I wanted to use this analogy of two people breaking up inside of a car. And certainly we never broke up inside of a car, but having a grand moment like a breakup, which is a very, very significant thing in somebody's life, especially for a lot of people. But, for it to happen in the most basic of all cars, a 94 Toyota Corolla, certainly isn't anything to write home about. So I wanted to be able to capture the emotion of, you can have very, very significant things happen in your life in average spaces. So that's what myself, and then also the co-writer and the co-producer of this song, again, you mentioned him at the beginning, his name is John. He goes by Unbloom. Fantastic guy. So we really try to channel that energy into this song. And it's certainly different from Everything is Gold. It's a very, very different vibe, and certainly genre-wise, it's different. So really broke a lot of barriers musically for me, and just how I tend to now approach music and what I think about certain instrumentation, and it really getting in to hone my skills as a producer. So yeah, it means an awful lot to me.
Yeah. Hey, before we roll that clip, and
Mhm.
because you have shared that story, would you mind if I show a photo of you and your fiance that you have on your Facebook page there, my friend? I could
Not,
just.
not at all. Go ahead.
We did not plan this. So in terms of the specific photo, it just happens to be the one that
No problem.
I have here on
Mhm.
that. So tell us how far. I think that's a fairly recent event in terms of your engagement there.
Mhm.
Wedding date is probably a number of months out, but thank you for sharing that part of your exciting journey with us here as well. That
No
is sort of
problem.
the basis of that song. So I'm just going to make sure that this here displays well. So give me a second to do that, and
Sure.
um, go ahead and do that and bring it in. And
Yeah, that's the one.
that's the one.
Yeah, so that's Olinda. Yep. So we've been together for, I think it's 2.5 years now, and we got engaged in January of this year.
Mhm.
Pretty well right before COVID hit. It was the very end of January, and then we weren't planning our wedding immediately after, but then certainly when COVID hit, we had to put everything on pause again, and we're still just trying to figure it out. So we do have a wedding date, and it'll be in May of 2021.
Mhm.
And right now, really, the biggest challenge is just trying to figure out how many people we can actually have at our wedding, which we really won't 100% know until probably the week or 2 weeks before the wedding. And then
Mhm.
certainly the government might have something to say, even about that. So again, like we have a bunch of different situations in our heads, and we've planned for all those as much as we can. But like I said, we won't know until probably a couple weeks before the actual day what we'll physically be able to do. But
Wow.
she's great, and we're
Yeah.
handling it about as well as we can right now. And certainly,
Wonderful.
I have a lot of empathy for other couples that are getting married. And it's certainly no easy task to get married on its own, whether there's a pandemic or not. But now, especially during COVID, you've got
Yeah.
plans just wildly changing back and forth. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that back story. And I'm going to bring in the video now, and we'll roll it here, my friend.
sure.
Okay. So there's the video, and we're going to go ahead and.
If you want to play the acoustic version, Dune, that actually might be a little bit easier to watch. Oh, okay,
You
perfect.
bet. Where is that version, Connor?
You actually have it loaded up there right now, the 94 Corolla acoustic. So if you press play, you're fine. Sorry, I thought you were going to just play the official audio, but that 94 Corolla acoustic video is perfect.
Perfect. Look at
Yeah.
that. Here we go. Let me know if you can hear the sound.
Sure.
It's not like you to leave it up to someone else. I hate it. You can't believe the words that are coming out of your own mouth. It's amazing. It's just you and I, and Van Morrison brown eyes, crying daily. We're hanging on by a moment now in your 94 Corolla, oh yeah. And it's amazing. Yeah, we're hanging on by a moment now in your 94 Corolla, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're hanging on by and I don't know how in your 94 Corolla, oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not like us to go ahead and hurt ourselves. Let's be patient. Even in delivering all this, we gotta be gracious. We're nowhere near glamorous, but the air is still amorous. And boy, I can taste it.
I can taste it.
We're hanging on by a moment now in your 94 Corolla. Yeah, we're hanging on by a moment now in your 94 Corolla. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're hanging on by and I don't know how in your 94 Corolla.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're hanging on by a moment. your 94 Corolla.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're hanging on by and I don't know how on your 94 Corolla.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're hanging on by a moment now on your 94 Corolla.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're hanging on by and I don't know how on your 94 Corolla.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hanging on by a moment. Hanging on by, hanging on by.
Hanging on by a moment now. Hanging on by a moment in your 94 Corolla. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hanging on by a moment.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun to film. We probably did that in about hour and a half. We had to do a couple different takes, but then when I mean, just like
Wow.
when
Was
you
it
get that
at,
one take.
was that at a studio that are friends of yours, or how did that whole arrangement happen?
Yes, so that's at a local London studio here. It's called the Sugar Shack. It was mixed by a guy named Kyle Ashbourne, who's a wonderful, wonderful guy here in the London music industry. And then, I had some friends help out, some very talented friends of mine, and the whole process was pretty seamless. I got them together, and obviously nobody had a huge, huge part except for myself. Just a bunch of people screaming, "Oh yeah!" And then my friend Brian there on the saxophone. They all did a wonderful job, and there's just a lot of energy to that song that I really love. So it was nice to be able to strip it down even just a little bit and to do that live performance video. So
Yeah. Well, acoustic is in these days, and I think COVID just probably adds more to it, doesn't it? When we simplify things down and say,
yeah,
how can we simplify it down and still get the essence of the song across?
totally. And it's been really, really cool to see other musicians kind of take a lot of liberties on the creative side of things. I think that some of the best songs in the entire world, no matter how much they might be produced on a record, can be stripped down to just say, just like a voice and a guitar or a voice and a piano, and still be pretty effective songs. I think that that's the mark of, again, a truly great song and how people perceive that song to be. So certainly it's a lot of fun. And then just, with the whole COVID thing, you've got more and more people trying out different things in terms of video and audio, and certainly live streams. I don't know if there were as many people comfortable with live streams as there are now, only because a lot of artists have been almost forced to be, right? To try and, have that kind of connection with their fans and to be able to, transcend with them on that level instead of meeting people now face to face. You have to connect like this, just very virtually. So
necessity is great at forcing change sometime. And, as challenging as COVID is for all of us in various ways, and some more than others, it also creates a new reality that we can certainly learn new things from, right?
Yes, absolutely. And again, it's all, I think that knowledge is power. And the more knowledge that you have, then the more powerful that you become. And if you're able to pass that knowledge on to other people, the more that you learned it, then I think that makes all the difference. One of my favorite quotes is from Kevin Spacey. And he said, if if you are very successful in your field, then it's your job to send the elevator back down. And I always love that because
Mhm.
you can keep all of that knowledge to yourself, or
Mhm.
you can use it for good and you can try to help other people who may not be as experienced in that field or in that mode of expertise,
Yeah.
and just be able to share, those skills. And I've certainly had a lot of people share skills with me, very, very much that I'm countlessly thankful for. So,
Hey, Carolyn, is it Carolyn or Caroline, perhaps, said hi.
yes, Caroline. Yes. Hello, Caroline. That's actually, that's Olinda, my fiance. That's her cousin. So
Oh,
hello,
nice.
Caroline. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you being on the stream.
Hi, Caroline.
Yeah.
Thank you for chiming in. So tell us, we're going to take a bit of a detour from the music,
Sure.
and I want to hear a bit more about your speaking side. Tell us how you got into it, what you've done with it, what are your plans with the whole, again, keynote speaking. Tell us more about that.
Sure. So, how did I get into speaking? Well, I got into speaking primarily through my mother. Her name is Paula. Very, very well-known speaker in the Canadian speaking industry, and certainly, if you hear the name Paula Morand, she's an absolute rock star. And I don't just say that because she's my own mother. I think that she has a real talent for this whole speaking thing. So, for me, I think just after years and years of watching her do what she does so well, I knew that I really wanted to try and make a go at it myself. And certainly, I like to think of myself as a very charismatic person. And, like I said before, I really love being around people and I love to just share stories and share different ideas. So that's how I kind of got into speaking. But I knew that I just didn't want to be a keynote speaker because I was coming from such a musical background. I knew that that was very much what I think a lot of speakers would consider to be a value add. So I wanted to try and largely incorporate musicianship into my speaking, kind of keynotes and workshops. And it took a lot of trial and error, as it does for every single speaker, but certainly it's still always in the works. But I think I found something that really makes a lot of sense. So the way that I tend to structure my keynotes is it's half speaking and half performance from a musical side. And I use a lot of my own songs and I use a lot of other people's songs as well to try and tell stories and to, kind of relate on different topics, all depending on what the audience needs to hear or what their biggest pain point is. So that's usually one of the first things that I'll ask like a potential client, whether that be a school or a corporation or anything else have you. I say, what is the biggest problem that you're trying to solve? And then I'm kind of working in my own brain to see how can I solve that through music, through song. So that's been a lot of fun. And certainly it's allowed me to, basically combine my first love of music into this brand new form of just like of storytelling that I've had some wonderful opportunities there to be able to do that. In terms of keynote speaking now, I'm not really doing a whole lot of speaking events. I've really taken the time to hone in on my musicianship craft. And that was a decision that I really just wanted to make for myself because I really missed producing music and for writing songs. And I found that when I was speaking, I was doing less and less of the actual musicianship side, even though I would still play music for my various speaking keynote events. So that's what my main focus is on right now, is just trying to produce as much music as I can, trying to write as many songs as I can, and really just trying to use those in the future to become a better storyteller. So that's where we're at.
Well, sounds like COVID is a bit of a blessing in disguise in terms of timing for that decision. Obviously writing songs and producing and recording, all that is very compatible with this isolation that we're in.
Definitely. And how about yourself, Dune? Do you find that you're right now more on the speaking side or more on the music side, or are you pretty half and half? How have you adjusted to this whole COVID life?
Yeah, I have a mix. So some of my work in recent years have been also on some consulting projects as well. There was a period where I did a whole lot of corporate training and university teaching, and so those have scaled down quite a bit over the last number of months. So the balance is changing, and I'm also doing a consulting project on the side where I can work from home as well. And so it's a mix, but exiting and coming out of COVID, definitely I wanted to to spend more time on the keynote side, I think, is where my focus is going to be. Less of the corporate training and less of the university teaching. I've taught at 4 different universities on 58 or 68 different courses in
Wow.
5 programs, right? Anything to do with management, leadership, and business. I've taught many courses in several universities. And so corporate training. And again, my background is I'm a certified management consultant. So with that background, very much into the corporate world, but when I do music, it has always been sort of separate from that so far. It's always been sort of cover band of very popular, in fact, famous Vietnamese singers who would fly in from other countries, and we would back them up all night, and we would sell, pretty, 500 tickets or something like that, and
Wow.
10-course meal, and we ripped through 40 songs and some really famous singers and also some local singers to add to the list. And so we do a lot of that. I've been in several bands doing that. So that's sort of separate from my music side. From my speaking side and training side and management consulting. But so COVID has, I've actually been busier than I've ever been, especially taking on this daily, kind of conversation show here. I'm doing it every weekday. So, that's a lot of guests. I think you are number 80 some already, my friend. Like this.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm really, really happy to be here. I really am. And, I think you're doing some great work, and just, I think there's something to be said about having the platform that you do have and being able to allow, multitudes of guests to be able to come on and to be able to share their stories.
Yeah.
Like I said before, knowledge is power, and the more knowledge that we can instill upon each other, then the more powerful that we will be, whether that's as, just as an individual or as a collective group of people. So, certainly you're doing great work, and, I'm glad to be number 80 something. Really am.
Thank you, because we have quite a diversity of people who join us, and some are musicians sort of background, some are leaders and sort of business and entrepreneurship. But tell us more about. Thank you for sharing that piece about the keynote speaking. And I must add a word. You probably were trying to be a little bit modest when you did not use a word that I'm going to add when you speak about your mom, right? So Paula Morand. Let me just for fun, I'm going to throw her name on here if you don't mind.
Sure. Go ahead.
So, of course, we love Paula. And so that's the word I would say. Not only is she well known, well respected, and as you said, a rock star in the speaking industry, I would say well loved by not only the audiences that she speaks to, but also by her peers like myself and the rest of us in the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, of which I've been a member since 2010. So been to every convention every year. Unfortunately, this year it was going to be in Calgary. It's going to be now a virtual conference, an online conference this year, which is very different because we did a lot of hugging in this CAPS convention. That's where I've met you, through CAPS there.
That's right. Yeah, she's a wonderful person, and she deserves all the recognition in the world. And and certainly I don't say all these things just because she's my mother, but certainly she's loved by many other people, and she's certainly helped me along the way with a lot of things.
She's also have recently created a new venue and a new kind of project that's going to focus on bringing more speakers and performers and musicians together in her own space. That is now very awesome. And I just saw a video clip of it the other day. And so she's going well beyond being the rock star speaker that she has always been, now basically hosting other rock star speakers and musicians and whatever, being a venue, producer and all that kind of stuff. Exactly. So thank you for sharing that. Moving back to music, I would love to maybe, do you have another video clip that you want to share with our viewer and an intro on the background behind how it came about?
Yeah, I'd say really the only other clip that you could probably show as a last minute thing is you could play the song Best Believe, which is right on the website. There's not really much of a video to it, but certainly the audio is there if you wanted to play that. And then I can kind of dive in a little bit to that song as well and tell the story behind it. So that song was released in March of 2019 or 2018? I think it was 2019 as well. So I was the featured artist on it. Again, it was produced by John Zarola, aka I'm Bloom, as you can see there on the screen. Wonderful, wonderful friend of mine. It's actually his birthday today, so John, if you're watching, happy birthday. And this was kind of my first big transcendence into the kind of like electronic dance music realm, and it was a lot of fun to be able to hop on and do vocals for this song, and we certainly had a ton of fun making it as well. So so I mean, you can go ahead and play this song, and it got some great airplay, some great uptake, so still very, very happy with it.
Great, wonderful. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
I gotta be honest, babe. When you're down, you're really down. Damn. And you don't want no saving. I guess I'll let you drown, but I don't wanna let you drown. And you're sitting in the corner crying out, and all I wanna do is work it out. But you don't even wanna text about it. And you're saying all your friends are going out, but no amount of the liquor can chase it down. And all I can say about it is best believe in my love, even if it kills you. Oh, best believe in my love, even if it kills you. Oh, even if it kills you. I let you down, but you're a syllable away from being persuaded to come around, You don't got to be perfect. Sitting in the corner crying out, and all I wanna do is work it out. But you don't even wanna talk about it. You're saying all your friends are going out, but no amount of the liquor can chase it down. And all I can say about it is best believe in my love. If it kills you, oh, best believe in my love, even if it kills you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's, are you heading, which direction is feeling good for you for the long term? Are you going to have the continue kind of mixture of things, my friend, musically?
Yeah, I mean, that's the eternal question, I think, for every musician. You look at someone like, say, for example, Taylor Swift, who's probably one of the better examples for this question. She's gone from country to pop to folk, and she's really done quite well. And certainly having a great team behind her helps with that. For myself, I mean, I just try to create music that feels good to me, and it doesn't really necessarily matter what genre that is. But certainly more in the alternative pop realm, and certainly using the word alternative means that you can get away with quite a bit, but it is definitely pop music at its core. And I feel very good about that transition into the pop world. Again, I used to be a folk artist, and that's how I started to write songs, especially growing up on the East Coast of Canada. But now moving into this more poppy realm, just it feels nice. It's a challenge for me every single day to try and write a song that means more than the last song did. So again, it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah. So you have a electronic press kit EPK here on your website. So
Yeah.
Again, connormorand.com/EPK. Tell us about some of these stuff. I see that you have basically, if you're looking to book Connor, you can just go here and be able to just see all the things that you need to do to kind of promote the event, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, like all the digital assets are there. If you need video, if you need a bio, if you need press photos, right there, they're all there. So, again, I spent a lot of time looking at other both musician and speaker EPKs and really just trying to decide, kind of the best of both worlds from those. And spent a lot of time just trying to amalgamate those into my very own. And, certainly, like I said before, a website is just like a baby. You got to take care of it. So I'm very, very much changing this as I release new music and as there just is more, more photos and more information about myself. So, but yeah, no, you can certainly go to that, and it has pretty well everything that you need.
Yeah. Tell us more in terms of the, when you think about the all the musical kind of journey that you had so far of various experiences, do you have a highlight story that you like to share that sort of kind of resonate with you as top of mind at the moment? It's just an awesome highlight of your career. Is that which one would you speak to?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and quite honestly, one that I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into. I would say it's really hard not to say the Everything Is Gold music video. When I put that out into the world, I didn't expect the reaction that video would get. I knew that it was a special video in my own heart, and I was just hoping and praying that it would be special to the to the general public, and certainly it was. And I got a lot of opportunities from that, a lot of major news and TV coverage. And certainly that was one of the better highlights of my career. But I think now, I think past all of the notoriety and past all of the actual, kind of quantitative data, and, I could count numbers and I can say, I have this many streams on Spotify. I have this many number of Facebook followers. I think at the end of the day, it just really comes down to, I think, writing really good songs and songs that I'm proud of. And that would be my greatest musical accomplishment. I can feel myself becoming a better musician, becoming a better songwriter, becoming a better speaker, each and every single day. And certainly there are days when I fall, but I'm proud of the work that I've done so far. And, if you can't be proud of yourself, then, what are you doing in this industry, really?
Thank you for sharing that. And I think if I could sort of imagine some of the reasons that song and that recording and that video, resonate with so many people and so many news media and all of that is probably partly because of the people engagement, right? It's one thing to have a great song, and it's one thing to record it, but it's another thing in the process. You engage so many different kind of people across the world and so many different locations, and all of a sudden it takes on some other kind of practical meanings as well that allows people to easily connect. So how you execute the recording of the video of the song also is an important part of our musicianship, I guess. It's not just strumming the chord and singing the lyrics, right?
No, it's not. And certainly, there are a lot of moving parts with any single song. And certainly if you look at any song or any video or album credits, there's a reason why it takes a team of people to do something, because we all have different skill sets, and I was very, very happy to get the people involved with that song as I did, and it was just, it's a team effort. It's all about the collaborated side of things. Music should not be a competition, and somehow along the lines, just through numbers and through stats, we have tried to make it about that, but it should just really be about how can we lift each other up, especially in times like these where we really need it the most. And music is such a vast landscape, and there are songs and there are albums and there are new artists that are coming to light each and every single day. So it's one thing for yourself as an individual artist to try and cut through the noise, but it's also a completely different thing to be able to lift up others, because I think that we feel that by lifting up somebody else, then we are really downplaying ourselves, but very more often than not, I have found that not to be the case. I've actually gotten a lot of opportunities simply because I've lifted up other people, and that's not a brag by myself, by any means, but just it shows, be kind to other people, and be willing to share things that you like.
Yeah. Now, you shared a little bit of when you spoke at the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, one of the convention, you spoke about how you evolved from wanting to do it all yourself to now convinced that you really need to collaborate more with others. And could you give us a summarized version of that you shared with us on the main stage there, my friend?
Sure. Yeah. So, for a long time, I think that we've all heard the expression, if you want something done right, then you have to do it yourself. And certainly that's not always the case. So it really comes down to trying things and to be able to be sort of willing to listen and to work with other people. And sometimes those are your best learning opportunities. And certainly for me, that has been the case for years and years and years of my life. And it definitely will be for the next 10, 15, 20 years to come. It really comes down to taking risks and to just being open and being vulnerable to many, many different skills. So, that's kind of the Coles notes of the presentation that I gave, is that you really just have to have faith, not just in yourself, but also in other people as well. And thankfully I have.
Yeah, you bet. As we wind around the corner here on the end time that you need to be somewhere else here, you have another appointment as well.
I do.
Could you maybe take us out, my friend? And I'm going to, once you finish with your kind of sentiments that you want to share, I'm going to increase the volume on the video here, and we'll take ourselves out with that. So take us out, my friend. You folks, viewers now and later in the video, you have been listening to Mr. Connor Morand, great musician and professional speakers and keynoter and artist, and I dare say a bit of a filmmaker. So take us out, my friend. Thank you so much for your time and contribution to this episode here.
Sure. Well, no problem. Thank you again very much, Dune. You have been listening to Conversations with Dune and Friends. As Dune said, my name is Connor Morand. Thank you so much for tuning in. And, for those that are watching, if you're thinking about trying something, just go ahead and do it. Nobody is going to care in the short run. You just really, really have to give it your all. And it's better to start somewhere with a very little amount than to try and get everything all kind of together and then to start from there. So just start now. Thanks very much.
Everything is